I am yet again starting video whilst I'm late editing it. I have no idea, in shock news, where the intro for this has gone. So, hello, welcome back. In today's video, I'm reading Kindle Unlimited romances. I've chosen 3 Kindle Unlimited romances that I was particularly excited about, and we're going to read them in this video. There's definitely going to be multiple iterations of this video because there's a lot of KU romances that I am excited to read, and I currently have Kindle Unlimited for free for the next 3 months. So there's going to be probably a few versions of this video over the next few months. But yeah, in today's video, the first book we're going to read is I've finished it. The first book we read in this video is Say You Swear by Megan Brandy. And the first clip I have that hasn't gone missing is me 85% through the book. So I just thought I'd give you a really quick rundown of what it's about. And then I will let Past Me take over and talk about how I'm feeling about it 85% in. So essentially it's a college romance, but the first like 20-ish% is set at a beach house. So it's a really nice mixture of settings. You get the whole like beach house vibe, and then you also get them in college, which is nice. My battery's flashing, I'm gonna have to be quick. It is a love triangle, but it's a love triangle where you quickly learn to absolutely despise one of the boys. So it is a love triangle, but I didn't find it annoying. It's not like a back and forth, like, come on, what you doing? And I really don't like love triangles, but it just kind of works in this book. And yeah, that's essentially the premise. A love triangle, college romance with beach house vibe, because they own a beach house, so they kind of go back and forth towards the beach house throughout the book as well, which is nice. And yeah, I will now let you know how I was feeling 85% into Say You Swear. I'm now about 85-ish% in to Say You Swear, and I really don't know how to feel. Like, I'm really conflicted. I'm not going to make this clip too long because there's lawnmowers and wind and everything, so I don't know how well you can hear me. I'm sat out in the garden, but I don't know how to feel. There's quite a few like traumatic events that are happening, and they're all happening like back to back, like really close together. And I get that that is often how it happens in real life, but I think in a book, when you're writing about people that aren't real, I think the traumas need to be more spaced out so that we can get more emotionally invested, because now I feel like I've just got whiplash, like I'm just all over the place with everything that's going on. And obviously in real life you would already know and care about the person. I don't know if I'm making sense. Whereas in the book, because they're not real people, I feel like you need to slowly introduce the horrible things that are happening to them, so that we can like care about each individual thing. I don't know how to feel. I honestly don't know if this is a 5-star or a 2. Like, I'm so conflicted at the minute between what it's going to end up being. Obviously it just completely depends how the book ends, but yeah, I really don't know how to feel. Hello, excuse the odd background. The clothes horse is behind me, but there's nowhere else I can balance my camera, so you just get to see. At least it's clean washing. It has been washed. Anyway, I've now finished Say You Swear. I finished it a few days ago, to be honest, and it's taken me a while to formulate my thoughts, and they're still not really fully formulated. This is one of them books that I have no idea what to think about it. I don't know how I feel. It definitely has settled more, like now that it's been a few days. I have some concrete things to say, but as soon as I finished it, I was like, is that 1 star or 5? I had no concept at all of how I felt about it. So I think now I've settled on a 4, like a 3.75/4, because I loved a lot of this book. I didn't like the twist very much, or at least I got used to it by the end of the book, because it does go on for a little bit. But when it first happened, I didn't like it. I feel like I already knew there was going to be trauma in this book. I'd been warned of that. But I think the traumas were too close together. And yes, it makes sense storyline wise, and if this was to happen in real life, I won't spoil it, but the traumas that happen being close together makes sense. If you've read the book, hopefully you know what I mean. It's kind of one after the other, and that is a natural series of events. However, when we're reading a book about fictional people, if you want me to be invested in what's happening, you need to give me time to get invested. Like, I just feel like everything was thrown at us all at once, and I wasn't attached enough to the characters at that point to like fully get emotional. I was a bit more like, it was more whiplash than emotional. Do you know what I mean? It was just a bit like, just a bit all over the gaff, and I just didn't know what to think about it. It's not one of my favourite tropes. I knew there was trauma, but I didn't know that was going to be the trauma. The main source of the kind of, I don't want to call it conflict, like the issue that they're trying to solve at the end, that's not my favourite trope. It's not something I enjoy reading. But then I loved so much of the rest of the book, and I do love the couple that end up together by the end. I really loved them together, and I did love the end. It was like a nice kind of wrap up. But yeah, I also think the book was too long. I maintain the fact the book was too long. It got quite repetitive in the middle. It felt like, I think I mentioned this earlier in the vlog, like scenes were happening, but it felt like same scene, but not even a different font, like just in italics. It was like same thing, different setting. We're not gaining anything new. We're not building relationships. Like, you're just showing me the same thing now over and over again. And it did get repetitive. Sorry about the lighting, it's really ugly. there's nowhere else I can sit and prop my camera up. But yeah, I just didn't know how to feel. So I think I've settled on like 3.75, 4-star. I do think fondly of the book, but those couple of things did kind of sour my memory of it personally. But I still really liked it. Obviously a 4-star is a great rating. I did think at one point it was going to be a 5-star whilst I was reading it. Didn't end up being a 5-star, but that's fine. It was still a really enjoyable book. So yeah, oh god, please ignore my bad cable management. There's just cables all over the floor. I'm getting a new unit to go there, so we'll fix the cables. So yeah, I finished Say You Swear, and I've now started By a Thread by Lucy Score. I forgot what I was reading. I'm not that far into it. I think I'm about 100 pages in, and it's like a 500 and odd page book. And to be honest, I'm struggling a little bit. It's very different vibes to what I thought. So I thought it was a bit more like a small town. I knew it was to do with some kind of clothes, like the fashion industry in some capacity, but I thought it was like a store in a small town. It's actually, they're working for like a global magazine, which it's giving like Devil Wears Prada, and I'm obsessed with that film. So I actually didn't mind the vibe change when I realised it was not small town and it's actually big New York City. I actually loved that because I love New York. I've never been, but I love the idea. I love Gossip Girl. You know, I love the Devil Wears Prada, the whole magazine element of it. So I was quite excited about that. I didn't mind too much that it wasn't small town because I like both of those things. But it just feels very The Hating Game. It's given 2014. I don't know when the book was written, so that might be a fair assessment. It might actually have been written in 2014, which is fine. And I don't mean that as an insult. I love The Hating Game. I own a special edition of it and I gave it like 4.5 stars. So I do love The Hating Game, but it's just, do I want to read 500 pages of this though? Do I want to read 500 pages of this man being a bit of an arse? Because he is an arse. It's like Grumpy Sunshine, but he's actually a prick. You know, it's not cute. I'm not finding him cute. I don't think his behaviour's cute. I think he's really kind of unaware of the struggles of the working class, and I don't like that. I don't like his ignorance. I don't want to spoil the story, so I'm not going to like say too much, but I'm not loving him. She's fine. She feels like quite a generic heroine, to be honest, in this kind of workplace rivals book. Like, she's not standing out to me that much at this point, but I like her. She's not, you know, she's an inoffensive character. He is offensive though. I am offended by him. So I am struggling with it a bit. If it was a shorter book, it'd be fine. It'd just be like a, you know, a fun 2014 throwback 3-star. But the fact I've got to sit and read 500 pages of this feels quite painful to me. But I'm going to keep going. I'm going to try and read said 500 pages. And yeah, I'll keep you updated on how that goes. I'll probably give you an update when I'm like halfway through and let you know how I'm feeling about it. But yeah, I am struggling with it a bit at the minute. I am procrastinating reading it at any given opportunity, which is never a good sign. I always forget how much when I love a book, like I just want to pick it up all the time. And I forget that like it's probably not normal to not want to pick up the book that you're reading. That's probably a sign I maybe shouldn't be reading it. But I'm gonna at least get a bit further in. And if I decide it's not for me, then that's fine. But it has potential. As I said, I love the vibes. I do love the whole like New York City working at a magazine thing. I just don't like him. So we'll have to see how his character goes. It's the classic like, I hate her but she's fit. And it's like, oh come on, like we've done that. And again, I don't know when this book was written, so this might not be a fair criticism. You know, Lucy Score might have been doing this while this trope was still like new. But reading it now in 2024, it's just like, oh, come on, we've done this. Like, let's have some emotional depth, please. You know, let's have some feelings other than she's got a nice bum. You know, I'm a bit over it. Anyway, I'm going to continue reading. I've got a few bits to do, but then I am going to sit down later and read some more of this book. And as I said, I'll give you an update when I'm like 50%. Oh God, I've been talking for 7 minutes. Right, I'm going to shut up. See you later. Hello. Sorry that I'm sat with my hood up. I am freezing. Yet again. Oh, and it's out of focus. Hello. There we go. Yet again, it's June in England and I am so cold. I'm sat here in a tracksuit and I am still freezing. Anyway, I am now halfway through By a Thread and it's definitely picked up a lot. I'm definitely a lot more intrigued now. The first 40% I just found a bit like, I don't know, I wasn't feeling it. I didn't love the male main character. I didn't see how he was going to be redeemable. But I eat my words. They're still not like together or anything. We're only halfway through and it is quite a long book. I think it's nearly 500 pages. But we're definitely starting to see the softer side of him and starting to kind of maybe realise that some of the things he did that initially seemed like awful, like we're starting to understand why he is the way he is and why he does those things. And as I said, I was worried that even when we got to this point he just wouldn't be redeemable because I really didn't like him. But I feel like I am very much starting to understand now, just like him and the way his mind, I'm literally shivering. I'm just starting to understand like him and the way his mind works and stuff. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it now. I just don't want to do anything other than sit down and read it. Like I'm really kind of in it at this point. But unfortunately I do have to go clean my bathroom, so I'm gonna have to stop reading it for a bit. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it now. It's definitely picked up a lot. And yeah, I am so excited to sit down later today and read as much of it as I can. I'm hoping to finish it in the next couple of days, so I'll probably update you now when I've finished and let you know my final thoughts, and then we'll decide what book we're going to read next. The kettle is boiling, I've got a towel on my head, we're just going to deal with it. I've just washed my hair, but I keep putting off filming this clip and I just need to film it. I'm not putting it off for any reason other than I always think I look ugly. So I've decided to, while I look my ugliest, why not film it? So I've now finished By a Thread. I finished it a couple of days ago and it was fine. It's like a 3.5 star. Like, I enjoyed parts of it, I enjoyed elements of it, like the kind of whole like overarching theme about, I don't want to spoil anything, but what his dad did and the way that that was discussed and talking about that in the workplace kind of in the modern era. I really like that element. I like the characters fine. Like, oh, excuse me, Bradley Walsh interrupting my video talking about catchphrase. Shut up. Sorry. What was I saying? Literally what was I saying? Oh yeah, I like the characters, they were fine. I like the setting. It was like in a big office of a big fashion magazine in New York, and it does say in the acknowledgements that Lucy Score loves Devil Wears Prada, and you definitely get those vibes. Like, it's not a copy, the story is different, the characters are different, but you definitely get the vibe that it's kind of inspired by that. So I really like that because I also love The Devil Wears Prada, one of my favourite films. So I did really like the book. My problem was that it was nearly 500 pages or over 500 pages. I read it on Kindle, so I don't know the exact number. Around 500 pages. But it felt like a 350 page palette cleanser. That's the problem, is that yes, it had the overarching theme of what his dad did and the discussions on that, but I don't think that ran deep enough to warrant it being this long. I don't mind long romance books as long as there's a point. The Boys of Tommen series, one of my favourites ever. From Luke Off With Love, my favourite romance book ever, is, I'm pretty sure, over 500 pages. Very similar length to By a Thread, and I loved it. But if you're writing a romance book that's near on 500 pages, there needs to be a reason for it to be that long. Even like Say You Swear, I kind of get why it was so long, even though it's not my favourite book I've ever read. I get it. But this, I don't understand why it's so long. Like, again, the theme wasn't delved into deep enough for me to warrant this book being 500 pages. If this had been like a 350 page, The Hating Game-esque kind of palette cleanser book, I think I would have actually rated it higher. I just got annoyed with it being so long. By the time we were 70% in, I was done. They were together, I was just done. I was like, why is there still words on the page to read? Why are we still going? What's the point? I felt like we could have wrapped it up 70% in and it wouldn't have made a difference to the story. He could have just added like 2 pages of the discussion of what he thought about at the end and then left it at that. So yeah, good book, just too long. And the last book we're going to read for this video is Thrive by Krista and Becca Ritchie. So the next book in the Addicted Calloway Sisters series for me. I found the first few books like fine. The first 3 were like okay. I didn't like Kiss the Sky very much, which I was very shocked about because I love Rose and Connor as characters in the other books. I just didn't click with their book and being particularly in Connor's head. Even though I love Connor, I didn't click with being in his head. Obsessed with Hot House Flower, like a 4.5. And now I'm on Thrive. So we're back in Lily and Loa's head now. They're not my favourite couple. Ryke and Daisy are, which if you'd have asked me going into this who was going to be my favourite and you told me it was going to be Ryke and Daisy, I would have big fat giggled in your face. I didn't think I was going to like Ryke and Daisy at all. I like Lily and Lo. I just don't like how Lily has been written to be very, very childish. I don't think it's fair reflection of addiction, the way that she's been written. And obviously addiction affects everyone differently. But I feel like she's very much been, what's the word, infantilized. Well, not try that because I don't know how to say it. She's just been written to me a lot younger than she is. But not in a way of like, oh, she's dealt with this trauma, so she's stuck at this age. She's just made out to be stupid, and she's not stupid. Like, she's a grown adult suffering from an addiction. Like, stop writing her like she's an idiot, because she's not. But anyway, I do like Lily and Lo. They're just not my favourite. But these books are so easy to read. Like, even though I'm not particularly invested in what's happening in this book, I'm not that bothered to be back in Lily and Lo's heads. It's just so easy to read. Like, it's so quick. Because it's just, I don't know how to describe the writing style. It's quite like conversational. There's a lot of dialogue, which I like. There's a lot of interaction between the characters. Obviously you do spend time in the characters' heads because they're thinking and battling addictions, but I feel like it's really well balanced with the amount of time we spend in their head and also the amount of time we spend having like dialogue and interactions, which makes it like still interesting to read because you're getting to see their thoughts, but it doesn't, I don't think it slows the books down. So yeah, we're reading that now. If you don't know what the Addicted Calloway Sisters series is, it's 2 series but they're interconnected, and the authors recommend that you read them interconnected. And it's basically about this group of people, 3 sisters and their respective partners, and the kind of initial protagonists, Lily and Lo, are both addicts. So Lily is a sex addict and Lo is an alcoholic. You get to know all that very early on in the first book. And it's just essentially the journey of all these characters throughout however many, like 10 books in the series. And you kind of switch back and forth between, like, in the different books, you switch back and forth between being in different people's points of view. So, yeah, that's what I'm reading now. I'll update you when I'm like 50% through to let you know how I'm getting on with it. I can't actually believe I'm sat filming looking like this, whatever. I'll update you when I'm like 50% through with how I'm finding it, but yeah. What I'm going to do now is go fill up my hot water bottle and lay on the sofa because I feel crap. So I'll speak to you when I'm halfway through Thrive. I'm now halfway through Thrive. At the beginning of this book, there was like a little author's note that said they considered making this a novella, but they just had so much to say about Lily and Lo, so they made it a full-length book. Should have been a 50-page novella. I've learnt nothing. All of the scenes that have any relevance we've seen before in Kiss the Sky and Hot House Flower, and any scenes of Lily and Lo alone that we haven't seen before, they're no different than they were in the last book, which is fine. You know, addiction is not a linear process. Whatever, like it doesn't matter to me that they've not progressed. But then why does the book exist? Because I don't understand if we'd never seen any of the scenes before and it was a brand new book in a brand new time of their story and they hadn't progressed, that'd be fine. But why? I don't understand why this book exists. It exists to add Lilian Lowe's perspective, but their perspective isn't adding anything to the story. Like, I don't feel like I'm learning anything about them that we didn't already see in the other books. I don't know, the existence of this book just doesn't make sense to me. At most it should have been a novella. I mean, I am only halfway through, so, you know, maybe things will start to progress, but I just, at this point, this has been such a waste of my time. Like, I'm already in a bad mood because I fell down the stairs and I think I've broken my toe and I can't walk. So I'm already in a bad mood today, but I was feeling like this before I fell down the stairs. I just think the book's pointless. We're not, like, I don't want it to seem like Lilian Lowe have to be making headway with their addictions for them to be relevant. That's not what I mean at all. But even when we're in their heads, nothing's developed. Like, I just don't know how to explain it. Like, nothing's new, but even the things that are old aren't being developed. Just nothing. There's no depth to anything that's happening. And I'm just confused as to why this book needed to exist. I just don't think it did. And I'm so bored. Like, thank God these books are easy to read, because I'm so bored. And I'm really losing faith with this series. Like, the only book I'm looking forward to is whichever the next one is that's about Reich and Daisy. Anyway, I'm going to carry on and finish it. It's just so I can carry on with the rest of the series. But yeah, I'm not having fun. Hello. I forgot I never filmed the last clip for this video. I finished Thrive like 2 weeks ago at this point, and I gave it, what did I give it? That's a fantastic question. 2.5. I gave it 2.5. I'm not going to bore you. It's the same reasons as before. This could have been a novella or simply nothing. But I think a novella would be fair. Give Lilian Lowe a bit of screen time, but I did not need a whole 400 and odd page book covering events that have already happened. And I get it, if you love Lilian Lowe, this is great for you, but they're not my favourite couple. So I just didn't need a book this long, going back over what we've already gone over. And I get it, if you only read the Addicted series, this is a great book. But for the vast majority of people who read Addicted, Calloway combined, we've done this and we've been through it. But yeah, it's just personal preference and personal opinion. I get why people love this if you like Lilian Lowe. I'm just not, I don't hate them by any means, but I'm not like a massive diehard fan of Lilian Lowe. So I personally didn't need this book. But anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. Please give it a thumbs up down below. Please don't hate me too much for not being completely obsessed with Lilian Lowe. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!